What is going on, guys? It's the Bigs Podcast, episode number 19. And today we are going to talk about starting pitchers, my personal favorite ranking show of the preseason. This will probably be the last one we do until after the CBA is agreed upon, and then we'll redo our rankings once everybody starts signing. With us tonight, first from Denver, Colorado, Jason Ashby. Jason, how are you this evening?
Joe, I'm doing just fine. I'm always happy to join you guys, talk baseball. This ranking was maddening. Let me tell you, it was. I couldn't stop looking at it, and eventually I just had to say, put it away because I couldn't look at it anymore.
I hear you, man. I've been doing this since basically the season ended, and I still don't think I'm good with how the middle is. I think we're all going to be in agreement on some of these guys, but I think the middle is a big glom that we really
Yes, absolutely.
Michael Haber joining us again, staying up late on the East Coast. Mike, how are you this evening, sir?
I'm doing great, and you used my full name. Are you mad at me for something? Okay.
No, sir. Though you were tardy.
I was tardy. Yeah, I know. I'm great. I'm super relaxed. It's my day before winter break starts. My second winter break, I guess you can call it. But I'm psyched to be here and talking starting pitchers with you guys. And I have to echo what Jason said. Like, by the time I reached maybe like top 50, after that I was just like plugging guys in.
I hear you, and that's why this is the early run, the one we do toward the end of spring training and before the start of the regular season is really what we're going to go for here. But you just want to talk about the outline, and we all did 75 guys. We came to agreement on somewhere around 65 that we are all going. We're not going to talk about all 65. We're going to break it down into tiers based on the aggregate. If you guys don't know how I find the aggregate, it's very simple. Whatever rank they have, add them all up, divide by 3. There you go. Congratulations. Let's get this thing kicked off. Math is fun. We're a math pod. Guys, we had all of the same top 7 guys, but in different orders. So I think the first thing that we need to talk about here is the guy that is at number 1, and he is mine and Jason's number 1. But Mike, you've got him at 2. It's Jacob Degrom, and there was a note next to his name. Talk to me.
I'm concerned about his injury scare from last year. I'm concerned about his sustainability with that elbow and with anything else that could pop up. So when I'm drafting a number 1 pitcher in the league, and again, this is based on like my personal drafting preference, these rankings. So when I'm drafting a number 1 pitcher in the league, I need to feel like, okay, what I'm drafting is going to give me a full season of sustained success. Mm-hmm. And Degrom, yeah, hands down, number 1 pitcher in baseball, 100%. But do I trust him as a number 1 this year over Corbin Burns? No.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying.
So I ask this question: what do you need out of Degrom? What would be a sufficient innings minimum for him to be the number 1 overall pitcher?
Well, first and foremost, I need a healthy spring training from him. Sure. And then if I could see that a couple of starts in spring.
Well, here's what I'm asking. If I could promise you X number of innings, where would you put him above Corbin Burns?
I don't know. 180.
Okay. So you're looking for a pretty heavy workload regardless. Given that Corbin Burns has never thrown more than 167 innings in his career, I just find this particular guy as the guy you put ahead of Degrom, like that one just sort of makes me go like this. Because the rest of the guys behind him, we could talk about 200 inning seasons out of Scherzer or Buehler or Cole, and I could hear that argument. But when the argument is, well, I don't know if Degrom is going to give me a full season's worth of innings, and therefore I have to put Corbin Burns ahead of him,
well, Corbin Burns,
that's the only thing I question.
Yeah, no, I get it. Corbin Burns, though, we were saying the same thing last offseason. Mm-hmm. Do I trust this guy being drafted, and is he going to give me a full season? I think anyone that drafted Corbin Burns was beyond thrilled with what he gave him last year. And I
No
think
doubt.
he can build himself up a little bit more this year.
Yeah, I mean, 167 innings is what he threw last year with a 2.43 ERA. I mean, if you're going to tell me that he gets to do 180 this year, 185, like I'll sign up for that and get this guy as my number one pitcher. That's for sure. Let's just jump to the second little mini tier here. It's three guys that we all have, 3, 4, and 5, just in a different order. Walker Buehler, Garrett Cole, Max Scherzer, and I just to tack on the final two here at the end. We all have them at 6 and 7 respectively. Wheeler and Brandon Woodruff. Any of these guys you really need to talk about, boys? Jason, we'll start with you.
Yeah, probably not. And look, for the most part, like the top 10 really for me, like with the exception of Degrom, like you can put them in any order, and like I'd be like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. And that's the case with these three for sure. Like you could tell me that Scherzer is number 3. You can tell me Cole's number 3. I have Buehler number 3. I still like the Dodgers the best. And he's young, he's durable. So I like what he brings to the table. But you could tell me that Scherzer's better, and I'd be like, yeah, you're probably right.
I also have Buehler at 3. Mike, you have him at 5. Why the drop for him?
I like Cole and Scherzer's strikeout numbers better. I like, yeah. I mean, just the fact that I trust them as a solid starter more than Walker Buehler, who's still young, who's still I don't know.
He's incredible. He won 16 games last year at a 2.47 ERA, an 0.97 WHIP, and 212 innings and 207 2/3. Like, dude's money. Dude's absolutely money.
Yeah.
For me, I like him as my number 3. I actually have Garrett Cole as my number 5, but he actually falls here in the middle with us, and we have Scherzer at 4. You and I do, Mike, and Scherzer at 5 for Jason. Wheeler and Woodruff. Do you want to split hairs on those two? Because I mean, they're both. One's on a winning team and gets no wins, and the other one's on a mediocre team and wins a bunch of games somehow.
The only thing that I'll say about Woodruff, and this is kind of the same thing with Corbin Burns too. Like, they kind of just came out of nowhere this past year to really put up some gaudy numbers. So I just wonder, like, you know, that's why for me putting Burns number 1 was a shock, because like he's done this once, and Brandon Woodruff kind of the same. I mean, he had a good 2020 for what 2020 was.
He had a great 2019 too.
He had a really good 2019, but like this was just like another step. So is this his peak? Are we just seeing the beginning of him? He's 29, so
yeah, he's going to be 29. He's got a lifetime 3.23 ERA, 2.56 last year, 180 innings roughly. I think there's something here.
Yeah.
So would this be the guy in this top 7 that you would shy away from?
Yeah.
I can respect that. Let's move on to the next tier here. It's only 4. It's 5 guys long, and it's running from about 8.5 to 15 here as the aggregate. The first guy we have here, Julio Urias, Sandy Alcantara, Shane Bieber, Robbie Ray, and Trevor Bauer. Any of you guys jumping on one to tackle?
I mean, I'm assuming I'm the low man on Robbie Ray.
Yes, Robbie Ray is at 17 for Mike. Bauer's at 16 for Mike. The other low men on the totem pole here, I have Bieber at 13. Jason has Bauer at 13.
Okay. Yeah, no, the only thing I was going to say about Robbie Ray is like he was really erratic one year and he was suddenly a lights out Cy Young pitcher the next. Like, this is a seasoned veteran pitcher who you don't know what he's going to give you. The fact that he had a Cy Young season last year is incredible, but he also had a season before that where he was all over the place and you couldn't trust him to throw 5 innings without walking 6 guys and giving up bombs. And so
absolutely legitimate. However, the fear that you had with Robbie Ray was always in Arizona. And it's during a time period that I am very, very familiar with.
I know how you feel about Arizona. Yeah.
Dude, it's so bad. Like, they really don't know what they're doing out there. And to me, I think Robbie Ray got fixed. Like, I really think this is a sustainable thing that we've seen now. And all it is throw the ball over the fucking plate, guy. That's all it was. That's literally all it was trust your shit and throw it over the plate. Like, stop trying to nibble. That's not hard to replicate. Like, that is really not all that hard to replicate. And you're going to tell me he's going to go to the AL West now, get out of the AL East? I think we talked about it, a lateral at worst move with probably more like a slight upgrade.
Yeah.
I love me some Sandy Alcantara, though. I am the high guy on him. I have him at 8. You guys have him at 10 and 12, respectively. But, I mean, what's not to like about Sandy Alcantara, who is basically proven that he is a workhorse? 205 and 2/3 innings this past year with a 3.19 and 197 and a third with a 3.88 in 2019. This is the Marlins ace. They're gonna let this dude go. And this season, more than ever, I think I'm going to be focusing on dudes who can give me full workload, like Mike was talking about with the number 1 overall pitcher. If you miss out on those first 7 guys, you can get this dude.
He is a fantasy ace, hands down.
Yeah.
The only thing you're concerned about here is wins, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And look, again, when I do these rankings, based on the bigs, and wins is a category in the bigs. So that's something to consider. You know, he's never won more than 9 games in a season, and that was just this past year. So you don't know, how the Marlins are gonna produce for him, but he's absolutely a stud. There's no question.
I think the Marlins are going to fight for 500 this year. I don't think they'll get there, but I think they're going to finish just under. This is going to be one of those teams that we're watching, like the Blue Jays of the last few years, the White Sox. Now it's the Tigers that we're watching like this, and the Mariners. They're going to be that team a year or 2 from now. Yeah, and we're going to be like, this is going to be a really good team. And Sandy Alcantara is going to sit atop that rotation.
Oh, yeah. I want to say something about Shane Bieber real quick, too.
Go for it.
I think that this is a sneaky fun pick this year, like considering that it was an injury plagued season last year, but like this dude was untouchable in 2020. Like, if he's healthy, I think that this could be a top 5 pitcher, and he could move ahead of some guys that we even have in the top 5. Like, that's how talented he is. Yes, he's playing for the Guardians, but
that's my thing, is that I could totally see a way that he's in the top 7, which would make it a top 8 next year. I could also see somebody falling out of it, so what have you. But for Bieber, my problem is the Guardians, right?
Yeah.
They just got rid of Francisco Lindor last offseason. Jose Ramirez is not long there. And it's not like they've got this like laundry list of prospects that are coming up. It's not like they've got a good team to put around him. And like, at some point, you're just not going to care.
Right.
I would love to see him traded. That would be tremendous.
Yes.
And I think at some point he will be, because that's just Cleveland's formula. But until that happens, I can't really put him over guys like Trevor Bauer, who's on the Dodgers and, will get me a ton of wins. Julio Urias, I can't put him above. Even Robbie Ray, I can't put him above. So he sits at 13 for me. Let's go to the next pile of guys here. It's let's see, it runs from 15 to 20, but in that span, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys. So this is a pretty condensed group of guys right here.
Yeah.
Lance Lynn, who I have at 12, Mike at 19, Jason at 15. Chris Sale, 15, 11, and 21, respectively. Giolito, 16 for me, 12 for Mike, 20 for Jason. Gausman, 24 for me, 13 for Mike, and 11 for Jason. You guys really believe in that dude, and I will make a case as to why I don't. Freddie Peralta, 22 for me, 15 and 14 for you guys, respectively. Aaron Nola, 11 for me, 24 and 19 for you guys. Oh, I'm mad at this one. I'm mad at that one. Jack Flaherty, 18 for me and Jason, and 22 for Mike. So I know what 2 I want to talk about, but before I yell at you guys, What would you like to discuss? Mike, let's start with you.
I see a big season from Chris Sale this year. Big comeback season. I have him ranked just outside the top 10, and I was actually considering putting him in the top 10. Boston's got a solid team. If this dude is 100% healthy, I think he's a fantasy ace too. And the value that you're getting him at in the draft is great this year.
Yeah. Right now we're talking about a dude who came back from Tommy John, is now 33 years old, so he's still well within his prime. And threw 42 2/3 last year. Like, it wasn't nothing. It was enough of a 3.16 ERA and about a strikeout and a half per inning that, like, you would feel pretty good about this as your ace. And this team is trending in the right direction. Let's not forget they were still a playoff team last year. Like, it's not like they're going away. So yeah, I do like Chris Sale. I've got him at 15, and that's no slight on him. I just have Lance Lynn, Aaron Nola. Let's just go to Aaron Nola right now.
Let me just say real quick, I need to move Chris Sale up.
Okay.
He's probably my 15 now.
Yeah, got Jason on one of them.
Yeah, because you're absolutely right. He's only 33, and he did pitch something last year. Like, he did come back. So
yeah. And he's gonna have a full season. You got to believe he's gonna be fully healthy for this year. Yeah. But guys, what is the disrespect with Aaron Nola? Somebody tell me why they don't like this guy.
Jason?
Well, I don't think he didn't have a particularly good year last year.
No.
9-9 with a 4.63.
Mm-hmm.
I watched him, a lot against the Mets, and he just didn't look good. I'm not a buyer in. I have him at right now. I have him at 20 now,
Mm-hmm.
Which again is still not terrible, but I've never really been a believer in Aaron Nola.
I've got him right outside the top 10. Mike Haber, do you have something? Anything tangible?
He is the number.
I'm gonna spit real fire when I get go.
Great, that's a great segue for me to talk. Thanks. He's the number 2 pitcher on a mediocre team, and he has done not much that I would trust him as. If I'm drafting a pitcher who's in my top 20, he's probably my number 2 pitcher, hopefully, if not my ace. I don't trust Aaron Nola to build a team around Aaron Nola, a guy that was pushing 5 in his ERA last year for a full season. In 2020, he pitched pretty well, but it was a short season. And then in 2019, the last full season, he was close to an ERA of 4. So do I trust him for a full season? No. Do I trust him as my ace? Absolutely not.
So we're 3 years removed from a season where he went 17-6 with a 2.37 as a 25-year-old. Mm-hmm. He's going into his age 29 season. He is let's say he needs to be the number 2 pitcher on this team now that Zach Wheeler has stepped forward, which is, I think, a realistic expectation of his. Mm-hmm. And you can tell me that this guy is going to throw me 180 innings, 225 strikeouts. That's a big number. That is not something to poo-poo. And for as bad a season as Nola had last year, he finished in the top 7 in strikeouts. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are we afraid of the ERA? Sure. But when has he ever had an ERA this bad? And let's couple that with the fact that he had a 3.08 BABIP and a 66.8% left on base percentage. Meaning that only 2/3 of the runners he let on base would be stranded. So he was unlucky. He's got a 13.5 homer to fly ball ratio. That's less than Robbie Ray. That's less than Trevor Bauer. That's less than Shane Bieber. That's less than Chris Sale and Lucas Giolito and Jack Flaherty and Yu Darvish. And any one of a dozen other guys here. His ground ball to fly ball rate is right up the middle. His hard hit percentage is low it's kind of in the middle at 32.6. But the big one that gets me is his called strikes plus whip. And this is called strikes plus whips. This is a statistic that they use to see exactly how many strikes you're actually throwing per game. He had 31.1 called strikes plus whips on an average per start last year. That finished inside the top 10. The dude was just unlucky, and the Phillies aren't a good team. And I don't want to think about how many games they blew for him, that in 32 starts, he only had 18 decisions. Roughly half of his games, he got a no decision. That's not good. I see a huge rebound coming for this dude. I really do.
I don't know. I don't think they've gotten any better, and he still pitches in the bandbox. I don't know. I'm gun shy with him, but I look with any of these, we all could be wrong. Like I just feel like all these pitchers are so volatile. Like anybody could be great, anybody could be terrible. It's a really interesting group.
So the other one that confuses me with you guys is Kevin Gausman. You guys are really high on him. 13 and 11 respectively. I've got him at 24, and he only left the best team in baseball in the best ballpark to pitch in and goes to the AL East. And you guys have him in your top 15? Like, this dude failed in the AL East once already. And yeah, he's got one really, really good pitch, which is that splitter. But other than that, I mean, he needs to be a ground ball pitcher in the AL East? Okay.
I mean, he's on a winning team now.
No doubt.
Not that he wasn't last year, but he's on a winning team, and maybe he figured something out in San Francisco. I mean, that's kind of what I'm banking on here. His strikeout rate was great. And Robbie Ray just won a Cy Young on the Blue Jays. Like,
but Robbie Ray's a strikeout pitcher, man. Like he's got strikeout ability better than Gausman.
Yeah.
And that's one thing you need to have in the AL East. I don't discredit that.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure that, like, I mean, like Jason said, some of these names are interchangeable for me, but like,
yeah,
that's why this is such a struggle, you know?
Yeah, I hear you. I'm just pointing out the large outliers here, right? Nola and Gausman were definitely two big outliers in this group. Let's move on to the next group here. We've got another group of 6 names. We're going to start with Justin Verlander, who I have at 20. We all have him inside the top 25. Mike, you've got him in the top 15 without seeing him throw a pitch yet. Little aggressive, but I could see myself changing that by the time spring training happens. Shohei Ohtani, not Brandon Webb. Nope, that guy was on the Diamondbacks. We're talking about Logan Webb. Charlie Morton, Max Fried, and Clayton Kershaw without a home. Kershaw, actually, you guys are really low on, and I have it 19. Now, I get the injury concern. Is that what this is?
And not knowing where he's going.
Okay. Jason, is that the same for you?
Yeah, and he's going to his age 34 season. I just wonder if, we're starting to see, a bit of a decline here. I know he had a really good 2020 and a really good 2019, but last year wasn't so great. So I just, I'm a little weary of him. But
yeah, last year wasn't so great. He had a 3.5 ERA. It's the first time he's had above a 3.03 ERA since 2008. Like, oh no, Clayton Kershaw had a season where he threw 120 innings and 3.5 ERA.
Right.
Like, if he's gonna go out of surgery, he's down my fucking list. But until that is announced, he's Clayton Kershaw, guys.
Do you feel just as comfortable with him in Texas as you did last year? You know what I mean? Like, because I could see him going to Texas.
I could see him going there too. They do need an ace, and he lives there, and the ballpark doesn't play like the bandbox it used to.
Yeah.
I'd probably move him down slightly because it's not the Dodgers, but less than you'd think. Maybe he would drop from 19 to 23 or so. Like I'm talking about, Kershaw being, where do I have him? 19 allegedly. Yeah, right here. So I've got him just ahead of Darvish and behind Jack Flaherty. Like, okay, if he drops behind Freddie Peralta, who I have 3 spots lower when he goes to Texas, is that a crime against humanity?
No,
Okay.
it's not.
Any of these other guys you want to talk about? Verlander, Ohtani, Webb, Morton, Fried, and Kershaw.
Jason.
Yeah, I mean, the bunch of guys like Ohtani. I have Ohtani 18. Which I don't know where that ranks him among the rest of us, but
you're high on him. You're the highest on him. You've got him at 18, okay. Mike at 20.
I'm hoping that, because this is the first time we really saw him pitch a fullish season, I guess.
130 innings. It's 9 more innings than Kershaw just threw.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of him. I could easily drop. He could easily drop down to the 30s for me, or he could move up to the top 10. I don't know with him, but I feel like he's a real dark horse here.
Mike, what do you think on Ohtani? You owned the hitter Ohtani last year.
I did. I enjoyed him very much. Yeah, I'm with Jason on this one too. The Angels need him to be an ace, and I don't know that I would trust him as my fantasy ace just yet. Yeah, they were slow playing his progress last year. 130 innings is nice. It's a nice buildup, but he's got to prove to be the Angels ace and throw 180 innings for a season. I don't know if he can.
Here's my problem with that. You're going to ask this dude to throw 180 quality Cy Young caliber innings for a top 20 pick at the position. But this dude also has to have 600 at bats. How much of a workload are we really believing that this dude is capable of carrying?
But what do you need more in Los Angeles right now? Do you need him as the hitter more, or do you need him as the pitcher?
I mean, what would the Angels have been last year without his bat?
True. But it was like Luis Renigfo hitting first. It was wild.
Bad. It was very bad. It was very bad because you didn't have Trout, you didn't have Rendon, and Upton's another year older, and it was him and David Fletcher and Jared Walsh. That's it. Yeah, you're gonna have a lot more of those names back, but who's to say they don't struggle? Who's to say that there's not another injury? We don't know. Yeah. So you're gonna count on this guy as your DH most days, and you're gonna say he's gonna go every 5th day. That's an incredible workload, and I don't think I can sign up for that.
But I will say, he's a DH, so at least he's not playing a position.
Sure. He's not. So he's jogging around the base paths 40 times a year,
exactly. So I think he's only 27, so I mean, I think it's just a year that he could do it. It's now.
It's gonna be this year. And this would be the year to do it because I don't think there's a whole lot more of a window for this guy to be doing this kind of a workload.
Yeah, agreed. I think he needs to prioritize his pitching, honestly, if the Angels want sustained success.
Yeah, I mean, they certainly have that as the bigger issue on the two sides of the ball. Let's jump to the next group here, guys, and I think I'm going to split this in half because it's kind of a big group. Let's do the first 4 here of Yu Darvish, Carlos Rodon, Jose Barrios, and Luis Castillo. Bunch of names that all sound familiar to the 4 of us for many different reasons. Jason, let's have you start with those 4. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and add Joe Musgrove into this as well as the next guy. So those 5 guys, Darvish, Rodon, Barrios, Castillo, and Musgrove, which one do you like the most? Which one do you like the least?
Well, based on my rankings, I have Barrios the highest at 23.
No, you've got Rodon at 16.
Oh, Rodon's part of that. Yes, okay.
Yeah, Rodon at 16.
Yeah. And Rodon, that was it's funny. We talk about Rodon and we talk about Luis Castillo. Two pitchers that were bad trades for me this past year. But Rodon, look, he showed this year that he can be durable and he can be effective. Can he take that next leap to past 130 innings? Can he give 150, 170 innings without falling apart? That would be the question to see. My low man is, I believe, from that list is Yu Darvish, who I also owned.
Yes, and that's the one I wanted to talk to you about.
Yeah. He fell apart towards the end of the season. He started getting a bad back, and I was just watching him. He was my ace for a couple of months, but I didn't like the way he ended the season, and it just scares me. Like, could this be like, is this what Darvish is going to be going forward? So he's scary. I kind of have him grouped with guys like Ryu and Blake Snell and guys who are like, what are they? Are they as good as they were, or as bad as they ended up?
The first half for Yu Darvish, 3.09 ERA in 18 games, 105 innings with a 7-3 record. In the second half, 12 starts, 61 and a third innings, a 1-8 record with a 6.16 ERA. My man knows his Yu Darvish. It's interesting because Mike and I have Yu Darvish at 20 and 21 respectively. You are double that at 42.
Wow.
And Rodon is interesting because you have him at 16. Mike and I are more than double you. I have him at 34 and Mike at 37. Now, if he lands in an advantageous team, if he signs somewhere, I could see him moving up. But realistically, I think Rodon's a guy I'm going to be fading. And it was a nice season. It was great to get that dude that late in the draft. I just really don't know if he's going to land in a situation that's going to be more advantageous than pitching for the best team in the AL Central against the Royals and the Bad Tigers and the Twins, and you're only the number 3 on that team. Like, there's not really that whole lot of pressure for you, but I don't think the White Sox are going to sign him. Like, I think they're content to let him walk.
Yeah.
The Mets need a lefty.
The Mets need a lot of things. Like,
yeah,
that would be a
lefty.
great landing spot. That would be a great landing spot.
Yeah.
Mike, who do you got in this group that you like?
I just want to point out that we're talking about like tiers and aggregates, and like I have to scroll on my list to find all of these players.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild.
Yeah.
It just shows how like pitching is subjective, and it's our drafting priorities are subjective too, and like I think it's just we need to point that out. Yeah. We didn't talk about Castillo. I think he was also like 2 different pitchers last year.
No doubt.
Yeah,
and I got the good side of it. Jason got all of the bad side of it.
And the ranking shows. I have him at 39.
And how do you know what to trust here? I mean, and the Reds are not going to be good this year.
No, they don't appear like they're going to be. And
I trade him, honestly.
They could, and that would help. Honestly, like that would help.
Yeah.
Right now he sits as my number 26, Mike's number 27, and you've got him at 39. I get it. I'm looking at his splits here from last year, and it's pretty goddamn ridiculous. Like, so first half, 19 starts, 102 and 2/3, a 4.65 ERA, and 3-10 on the record. The second half, a 3.18 ERA, 85 innings, 5-6 record. Like, he didn't get a whole lot of wins, and he led the league in losses. The bullpen was bad.
Yeah.
And he didn't get, he had a 1.41 whip and a 1.30 whip in the second half. Like, it's not like he got markedly better. He just had a run of really good starts. And, if we take a look at the game line, it's July and, most of August. He had one terrible start in Cleveland, but, otherwise it's 3 earned runs or less for, 2 months. Cool. Awesome. Wonder if they were bad. No, I was just about to postulate. Wonder if they were all bad teams that he was starting against.
And just remind us again who you traded to Jason for Luis Castillo.
I also got Mark Canha in that deal.
Mm-hmm.
I traded him Andrew Vaughn, Drew Pomeranz, and Devin Williams.
Got it. Jason, thoughts?
Yeah, look, I needed help with the I needed help with the bullpen, and
You got it.
I was like,
No, he didn't,
take
because Pomeranz was hurt at the time and then didn't
Oh,
get
yeah.
better. And then Williams punched the fucking
Pomeranz died.
wall.
Yeah.
Really quick
mean-
on Joe Musgrove. I think he could be the ace of San Diego this year. I do really
Yes.
like that guy.
He was
Mike,
big
you
for me
seem
last
to be
year,
the
too.
low guy on Joe Musgrove. What aren't we seeing?
You know, I literally have never trusted Joe Musgrove as a fantasy starting pitcher. I think that Darvish and Snell have probably more upside on the pot. Even Snell, who I have ranked lower than Musgrove, I realistically would probably draft Snell over Musgrove, to be honest.
You know what? I used to have that mentality too, that I didn't trust Musgrove until last year when he came up clutch for me, and I'm like, okay, yeah, 3.18 ERA over 181 innings, like that's
Strikeout
pretty
an
good.
inning. The only thing was an 11-9 record, which speaks more to how bad the Padres were as a team.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be really good this year. I think the Padres have a big bounce back.
And wouldn't it be nice if all three of these guys pitched to their potential?
Right? For once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next four guys we all have between 31 and 33 for the aggregate. However, Mike, if these guys are between 30 and 35 for you. Same with you, Jason. We're going to talk about Trevor Rogers, Frankie Montas, Pablo Lopez, and Chris Bassett. And what I will say is that one of these guys is the guy, Jason, I told you before we started filming, all three of us had the exact same spot. He's the only guy. Wow. One of these four guys. That man's name is Pablo Lopez at 32. And I love Pablo Lopez. I don't know if you guys know this, but Pablo Lopez is probably one of my 5 favorite players actively playing. Now, here's a little bit of some information on Pablo Lopez. He's never thrown more than 111 innings in the season. He's never had an ERA south of 3. And prior to 2021, it was never less than 3.61, which is the 2020 season. I love what I see in this guy. I'm just starting to get concerned if there's an injury problem here. Last year it was the rotator cuff. In 2019, he was a mess. He had an ERA north of 5 in 111 innings. I'm just concerned. And if he doesn't put together a good season in 2022, I could see the Marlins trading him. If he puts together a really good season, I could see the Marlins trading him too. He's only 26. We've still got a long way to go with this guy's career. But he's throwing up red flags early, guys.
Yeah, agreed. That's the only reason why he's not in the top 25 for me is I want to see I want to see more. I want to see him pitch more innings. That's it.
Yeah.
Give me 150 and, with a good, 3.20 ERA or something like that. Something that, I can build upon. Yeah.
Yeah. Give me something good here. Let's talk about Chris Bassett, Mike. We were going to talk about this guy because my love for Pablo Lopez and your love for Chris Bassett, I don't know which is larger.
I don't know either, or his penis. I don't know what's larger. But Chris Bassett is the man I had for one start last year. And I worked hard to trade for this guy all year long. I get him for one start and he breaks his face.
No, he didn't break his face. Someone broke it for him.
He caught a ball with his face.
Yeah.
He caught a ball with his face. And then he's such a trooper that he came back and threw another start at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
After breaking his face.
157 and a third, 3.15 ERA, a 12-4 record. What if he gets traded out of Oakland?
I mean, I guess it depends where he lands, but and I know they're going to trade someone. I mean, it is a little sad that they've got Manaea, Montas, and Bassett, and they're going to let, they're going to
at least one of them, maybe all of them.
Yeah.
Along with Olsen and Chapman and maybe Sean Murphy. There's a ton of names available.
Yeah. But I mean, it depends where he goes. I think that this guy can be successful on a winning team. And I think that I could see him being traded around the All-Star break and going to a contender.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
Jason, you seem to love you some Frankie Montas inside your top 25. Why?
I did have him that high, huh? Where did I have him?
Or no, you had him at 40. I'm sorry, Mike.
40.
You
Yeah, I
have
was
him
saying
at
no. There's no way I had him at top
Yeah.
25.
Yeah, you've
Yeah.
got Frankie Montas in the top 25. What do you
Yeah.
like about this guy that you have him so much higher than the other three we're talking
you know, I love what he did last year. I think I like his strikeout rate, his ability to keep the ball in the ballpark. I mean, it's one of those guys where I feel like every time I faced him in fantasy, like he threw 8 innings of shutout baseball with 12 strike. It's just one of those guys every
Yeah.
single time.
I hear you. I hear you. All right, we'll move on to the next group here, and this is going to run from 35 to 40. We're going to talk about Lance McCullers, Shane McClanahan, Alek Manoah, Dylan Cease, and Framber Valdez. I'll start with Dylan Cease. I'm the low man on him. I got him at 42, and while I love the breakout saw, now he's got to be the number 3 because Rodon's gone. And there's a little bit more pressure now. Like it's him and it's Giolito and it's Lynn and then what? Keuchel?
That's Keuchel. Michael Kopech.
Kopech.
Necessarily like those options. Kopech has a nice upside, but realistically, this is the guy you've got to have at your number 3 in a short series or even a long series in the playoffs. For the regular season, okay, a 3.91 ERA. He only really brought his ERA down 1/10 of a point over 22 or over 2020 for whatever 2020 was. Strikeout rate's great, but is this really what we're going to look for here? A 3.91 ERA on a good team? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
What about you guys? Who do you like here? McCullers, McClanahan, Manoah, Cease, and Valdez. Jason?
So 2 of those guys, Manoah and McClanahan, I kind of have in my rankings. I have them grouped with some. We talked about Trevor Rogers, and there's 2 other guys we haven't talked about yet. They're kind of, for me, they're kind of grouped together in this tier because they're all kind of these rookies. I have McClanahan the lowest of that group for myself because he's a Rays pitcher. I don't know how many innings is he going to throw. We know how the Rays use their pitchers, so I mean, he threw 123 innings, and I think he was the high man on the team last year, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So, like, I don't know what his usage is going to be, but there's no question that the talent's there. And I also love me Alek Manoah in Toronto. I think he is a stud in the making.
Yeah, I've got Manoah way down at 47 only because he hasn't proven it yet. And until, you're a proven commodity, you're just a prospect. And we've seen plenty of guys like this come along and we go, oh yeah, this is the next guy I'm going to get behind. And no. Like, I mean, look, he could be the best pitcher on the Toronto Blue Jays next year. Or he could be in the minors by June. Like any of those outcomes is realistic.
Absolutely.
I'm also really low on Framber Valdez compared to you guys. I have him at 51.
Wow.
Jason, you're high on him at 30.
Houston. I have him and McCullers back to back because I didn't know which one I liked better. I think Framber dealt with an injury last year, but he was still really solid. And they play for Houston. Like that's a good place to be. I like them both.
Mike, where do you sit on those two, McCullers and Framber Valdez?
What I like about Framber is he threw 134 innings last year and gave up 12 home runs, which to me that's really
in Houston.
impressive.
That's pretty impressive.
So I look at that, and his strikeout rate on top of that. He's a little erratic. He can get wild, and that's like kind of the one thing that scares me a bit. But pitching in Houston, this guy can win 16, 17. I could see him winning that many games. So if you're looking for wins, I think this is a good way to go. And I like Jason, I have him and McCullers back to back. I just find that kind of interesting.
I do not. I have McCullers much higher. I have McCullers at 38 and Framber Valdez at 51. And I'm sure you guys are going to wonder why. Well, first of all, Lance McCullers is 28 years old, and Framber Valdez is also 28 years old. So why would I say that? I don't know. McCullers has done it for longer, guys. Like, realistically, McCullers been around for longer, and he's got a lifetime 3.57 ERA. We've seen this guy put together some good years. Now, he threw his most innings here this past year at 162. My belief is that McCullers is now doesn't have any chains. He's ready to go like 180, 200 innings. Framber Valdez, I don't think he's reached that point where anybody's going to trust him to do that. He threw 134 and 2/3, like Mike said. Before that, 2 seasons of 70 and then 37 innings. And like, he was good, but he was really bad in 2019. So like, there is a range of outcomes that exist that Framber Valdez could just sort of fall off the rails. I like what we've seen from McCullers over the long haul, starting back in 2015, where he threw 152 innings as a 21-year-old. Dude's been good for a while.
Yeah.
Jump to the next little group here. It's a mini group we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about 5 guys again, now from 40 to 45. I am way out on a limb here, but Marcus Stroman shows up. Eduardo Rodriguez, Luis Garcia, Tyler Mahle, and Ian Anderson. And I say I'm way out on a limb with Marcus Stroman because I have him at 21, guys.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I love me some Marcus Stroman after what he did with the Mets last year, but
and now he's going to, I would say, an equivalent ballpark and a better division.
yeah.
Are you looking? I don't know. You looking for wins here though? I don't see the Cubs
Not
winning.
necessarily.
Yeah.
I mean, he went 10 and 13 last year.
Yeah.
If you're going to tell me he's going to have the exact same season, he's going to be a top 25 pitcher.
He doesn't strike out guys, so that knocks him down for
Ground
me a
ball
little
pitcher.
bit. Yeah, I know, right? But we
Like,
don't have ground balls in
this
the bigs.
No, but this dude, you could totally see being your number 3 or 4 in your rotation. And I don't have to draft him as the 21st pitcher off the board, obviously. I can draft him twice that and still get him.
Yeah.
55 for Mike and 47 for Jason. I'm way, way high on this guy. And maybe I have to take another look at him. I don't know. What do you guys have? Which one do you want to talk about? Eduardo Rodriguez, Luis Garcia, Tyler Mahle, and I think this is one of the guys, Jason, you were talking about in the group of rookies, is Ian Anderson.
And Luis Garcia. Both of those. Yeah. But so it's Trevor Rogers, Manoah, Ian Anderson, Luis Garcia, and McClanahan. I had all grouped together in one little bunch from 33 to 37. Yeah, I like Luis Garcia. I think he really impressed me last year. I forget who had him last year in the bigs,
Costas.
But it was Costas. Yeah, that's right. And he slaughtered me with him a couple times. Like, yeah. I don't know how I feel about Ian Anderson. I have him higher actually than Luis Garcia, but I could see him falling way down. I could see him having a real bad year.
Mike?
Ian Anderson is someone that doesn't impress me, and I had him for that brief stint in 2020 when he first came up as a rookie, and it was impressive, really impressive. And then last year, I feel like he's a mediocre pitcher. I don't see, maybe I don't see what other people see in this guy, but I couldn't rank him inside the top 50. I didn't feel good about it. I think there are 50 to 75 pitchers that are better than this guy in the majors right now.
I'm kind of with you there. I have him at 48, and he's got a fucking walk problem. Like, he threw 53 walks in 128 innings. Like, that's a fucking problem.
I think this guy is getting drafted because of his name, because he was this highly touted prospect. I think it's inflating his ADP.
He's
in my
gone 160 and 2/3 in the majors with a 3.25 ERA and a 12-7 record. Like that's nice. And if you're gonna tell me that that's what he has this year, like, okay, yeah, that's a lot better than what I have him ranked. But
Yep.
I don't. And he's 24 and he's on the world champions. Like, this is all the makings of a good situation. I'm with you, Mike. There's something here that doesn't seem to fit.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is though.
Me neither. Can't put my finger on it.
Yeah. Eduardo Rodriguez, I love him this year. I think he's going to be great in Detroit, and I think he was
I do too.
really,
I do too.
really savvy signing.
I agree.
I have him and Stroman right next to each other, but I think Rodriguez could shoot way up.
Yeah. Let's go to the next grouping here. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys. Adam Wainwright, Sean Manaea, Mike Clevenger, Hanjin Ryu, Ranger Suarez, and Anthony De Sclafani. Some of these guys, I think we all have relatively close to each other. De Sclafani is relatively close. 43 for me, 56 for Mike, and 50 for Jason. So he makes the top 50 for 2 of us. The one I want to talk about here, I think, is going to have to be Mike Clevenger, right? This is a Tommy John comeback guy, and I'm the high one at 39. He's a top 40 pitcher for me. Jason, you're out on this guy. Why?
Well, so I have him again. I have another group of guys that he sits with them as far as like guys who are coming back from big time injuries and didn't pitch last year. And he's certainly one of them. Look, he didn't pitch at all last year. He's coming back from Tommy John, right? So we don't know what he's going to be. Yes, he could easily be a top 20 pitcher again. But I need to see it.
He was really good in 2019 at 100.
He absolutely was.
He was
1 year.
He was great in 2018 for 200 innings. Like that's the peak that you're looking for here, right? Mike, do you think we could ever see that peak again?
I think you could. I think he's got the stuff for it. I think he can energize those other 3 Padres pitchers that we talked about earlier in the show. And I think this could be a scary rotation if everything kind of comes to a head.
If everything breaks right. And am I willing to take a chance on Clevenger in, I don't know, well, let's see where he's going in these rounds. But realistically, am I willing to take that chance on him? Yeah, I think I am. You know,
as your number 4? Yeah.
I would prefer it to be my number 5, honestly.
Okay.
I'd like to have 5 of my top 40, but it's fine. Like, let's take a look here. Ben, you got to launch the league again soon, man. I need to have these numbers.
I as of yesterday, he was going in Yahoo. He was going 162 overall.
Yeah, I can live with that. 10th, 11th round. I can live with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. The next group of guys. Oh, let's hang on. We talked about one guy from here. Let's talk about Adam Wainwright. Mike, you loved you some Adam Wainwright. Jason and I have him at 49 inside the top 50. You almost have him in your top 40 at 41. You believe in the 40-year-old guy?
I do. I believed in him last year, and he has he's proven that age is a number and just a number. And he's still going to be pitching for the Cardinals. He's got Yachty back. That combination has worked for whatever reason. And like you said, the NL Central is not anything.
It's not the greatest division.
Scary. Yeah.
Yeah.
And even the Brewers, who are probably the Cardinals, top competition there,
yeah.
Like, I don't see them with a scary lineup. So, like, I could see Wainwright getting close to his replication from last year.
He had his best season of his career last year. 3.05 ERA and 17 wins. No, he did not have the best season of his career. We forget that this dude was a 20-game winner for roughly 4 straight seasons. In 2009, he went 19-8 with a 2.63. 2010 was 20-11 with a 2.42. 2013 was 19-9 with a 2.94, and 2014 was 20-9 with a 2.38. Dude had just been bad for a couple of years and finally put it back together. He's gonna be 40 this year. Yeah, I can see him doing it. I would like to. If you're going to tell me I can still get him as my number 6.
Sure.
Okay. I could.
Yeah. You have a great rotation if Wainwright is your 6.
He went 155th overall, so that's roughly the same area as what we're talking about here with Clevenger. What about Hanjin Ryu, a guy that we're familiar with, Mike?
Yeah, I may stay away from him this year, to be honest. I have him at 50 because he's not too far away from his dominance that was a couple years ago. But I had him last year on the Blue Jays, and it was too inconsistent for me. And I drafted him as my ace, and Jose Barrios and Adam Wainwright turned into my aces. But
you still got almost 170 innings and 14 wins, but a 4.37 ERA is not what you signed up for. And
no,
this was one of the this is kind of what I expected when he went to Toronto. And yet you guys have Kevin Gausman in the top 12. Anyway, listen, let me tell you about a little story about the next group of guys, okay? The next group of guys are what I'm calling we believe in one of them. One of us believes in one of them. Right? Like, the other two don't believe in these guys, but one of us has it like a little bit or a lot more high than the other two, which is dragging them up the rankings. Let's start with Blake Snell, Sonny Gray, Nate Eovaldi, Steven Matz, Zach Gallen, Herman Marquez, and John Means. Where do you boys want to start?
Oh man.
I'll just say Herman Marquez is not a streamer.
Herman Marquez is not a streamer. However, Mike has him in his top 50, and Jason and I have him outside the top 60. Mike, what do you like about Herman Marquez?
I like his upside for a Rockies pitcher, and yeah, he went on a run last year that was pretty incredible.
Yeah,
and
it was impressive.
It was huge for me.
What? Yeah, it was huge for you. And he's not a streamer. I think if you're gonna have him outside of your top 60, he's almost a streamer.
I disagree. Not in the bigs.
Yeah.
It's not been 60 pitchers and 16 teams. That's we're still talking about a number 3 or 4 at this level.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Like somebody's gonna have to have this guy as their 4, roughly.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's a realistic expectation for this guy, is to be somebody's number 4. My fear is that like you're getting half a pitcher with this though.
Yeah.
Like what you're saying is like, oh, okay, I'm gonna start him every time as my number 4. You're not doing that. You know you're not doing that. When the Dodgers come to Colorado, when the Giants come to Colorado, when the Brewers come to Colorado, when the Mets come to Colorado, when the Braves show up in Colorado, like the Padres go to Colorado, you're not starting him. And if you started him only in the away games in 2021, you would have gotten 67 2/3 innings, that's the second half. He had a bad second half.
Yes, he did.
Home and away. Here we go. If you'd have started him in only home games, apparently he's better at home for whatever weird reason, you would have gotten a 3 record, 103 innings, 3.67 ERA. If you only started him in away games, you get 77 innings, a 5.38 ERA, and a 4. This is a hand grenade every time out. I don't want any part of this.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of those numbers at all.
No.
Yeah.
Jason, what's wrong with Zach Gallen?
I don't like the Diamondbacks. I really don't. Like I was going through all the teams and like team by team, and he's the only Diamondback pitcher that I could put on this list. And like he went 4-10 last year with a 4.30 ERA and 139 strikeouts, 121 innings. Like that's okay. It's just I don't know.
You remember he came into the season hurt, right?
Yeah. I admit I could move him up, but like not much.
The fact that you have him below Kyle Hendricks is insulting. That's pretty insulting. Like, look, I don't like Zach Gallen. I would tolerate Zach Gallen now. Like he kind of soured me, and realistically, half of his starts came last year in his career. I've said this before. Like there is no sustained success from Zach Gallen because prior to this season, he had only thrown 80 innings as his maximum in 2 years. So we saw some growing pains with him. We saw some injury concern with him. Look, I don't have him high. I've got him 53. Mike, you've got him at 43. Are you thinking a nice bounce back, or at least a decent bounce back is coming?
Yeah, I mean, he showed what he's capable of in those short stints, but like you said, I mean, he's got to do it for longer for me to put him anywhere higher than where he is right now. But I definitely could see him. I mean, he is the ace of the Diamondbacks, and whatever that means.
I could be the ace of the Diamondbacks.
I could see him dropping below 4 as an ERA and putting up some nice strikeout numbers. I could see it.
Maybe. Man, we'll see.
I want to talk about Nate Eovaldi real quick because I really like this guy and I really like where he's being drafted. Another guy, if we're talking about, because I look at this in the bigs too. We talked about Framber Valdez and how he doesn't give up a lot of home runs. Nate Eovaldi is another one of those guys who he pitched 182 innings last year and gave up 15 home runs, which is really nice for pitching in Fenway.
I wonder whether they were on the road or at home, like where he gave up these home runs.
Yeah. I'd have
he
to
gave
look
up
that
9. He gave up 9 on the road. Oh, wait,
and only 6.
And only 6 at home.
Wow,
pretty impressive.
That's very impressive, and he's averaging more than a strikeout an inning.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to be the number 2 this year, which takes a little pressure off of him. 2 after Sale.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Like, there's not really anybody else there, right? But I could totally see them getting in on Rodon or somebody else, right?
Yeah.
But this is a strikeout pitcher who is a quiet strikeout pitcher who is not going to get everything that he deserves. But this guy carried the team last year.
He did have a really nice season, honestly.
He did.
11-9 with a 3.75, 195 strikeouts and 182 innings. It was really, really good. I have him at 50. It's only 5 spots lower than you do. Jason has him at 61. I guess the only fear I would have is, again, the same kind of fear I have with everybody in the AL East. Somebody's going to eat a lot of runs on their record.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, the only other one that I want to hit on here is Sonny Gray. You guys have him pretty low, but what if Sonny Gray gets traded out of Cincinnati? Would that move him up for you guys?
Not me, but Jason.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on where, but I probably not very hot. Probably not very much.
I have him at 37. Like,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I have him ahead of Clevenger and McCullers and Luis Garcia. Like, he's not going to win you any categories, right? He's just going to be a pretty decent solidifier that's not going to hurt you anywhere, and he's just going to help you where he can. Like,
I just always consider him he's mediocre. Like, is how I describe him.
Okay. The next one is a very large glom of guys, and it's going to be our last group of guys that we all agree are inside the top 75. Then we've got a group of guys that only 1 or 2 of us have. So, Cal Quantrill, Logan Gilbert, Luis Severino, Noah Syndergaard, Jose Urquidy, Tariq Skubal, Casey Mize, Kyle Hendricks, Aaron Savale, Jordan Montgomery, and Alex Wood, I guess counts, although he was outside my top 100. So which one of those guys do you want to talk about? Mike, I actually want to hear what you have to say on Luis Severino. As a Yankee fan, like, this is a dude we haven't seen in a minute.
Yeah, but knowing Severino, he wants to start. He wants to be a starting pitcher. Yes, this is a weapon that we could have out of the bullpen, but he wants to be a starting pitcher, and he's been building himself up to be a starting pitcher. So we say it every year, though, and that's the scary part with Severino. Is like, okay, this is the year he's coming back. He's going to give us a full workload. And then he like gets hurt in April and he's, so I'll believe it when I see it. And that's why he's just inside my top 75. But if this dude has a healthy spring and is in the rotation, I could see him moving up big time for me.
Jason, you have him at 74. He's literally the bottom of your barrel at this point. Like what are you not seeing on him?
So Severino?
Or is that Mike? You have him
I
at
have him
75. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Then Jason, you're the high guy at 55.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
You're expecting a good comeback.
Yeah, and again, I have him with guys. So okay, I have him with Severino, Dakota Hudson, Syndergaard, Clevenger, and Strasbourg. I have all grouped together as guys who we haven't seen in a while, but are really good, and I really expect, if they're healthy, real bounce back seasons for all these guys. And Severino I have on the top of those group because even though it's been the longest for any of them since we've seen him pitch, he's pitching for the Yankees, which is a plus, and he was just so good. He was so good when he was healthy. Like I feel like he is probably the most likely to have a big bounce back of that group for me.
You know what just popped into my head while you were talking about all that? Like, he was so good when he was there. You know who else was really good when he was there? Chin-Ming Wong, Ivan Nova. Like,
what's your point?
Didn't Kevin Brown give you guys like one good year?
Yeah.
Carl Pavano.
No,
did
let's
Carl
not
Pavano ever give you a good year?
No, he didn't give us a good inning.
So, like, what if this is just that next guy? What if this is, and I'm going to go on the offensive side too, but like, what if this is Nick Johnson? What if this is Clint Frazier? What if this is like Kevin Moss? What if this is just another Yankee guy that gave us a blip and then was gone?
It's very possible, but I do think that this guy's talent is, and his pure stuff is greater than any of the players you just mentioned.
Okay. Jason, you're really high on Noah Syndergaard compared to us.
Yep.
You really like Syndergaard in Los Angeles, and are you concerned about a workload limit?
I mean, you can be concerned with workload limit for any of these guys that I just mentioned because they're all coming back from big time injuries. But I mean, the Angels signed him, so they clearly are not. They're going to have him pitch. He's their number 2, like, and we know what he's capable of when he's healthy. So if he's healthy, if he can come out and have a good spring, yeah, I have high expectations for Syndergaard. I think. Look, I wanted the Mets to keep him, honestly. Like, but now that dust has settled and he's got a home, he's in SoCal where he's gonna fit in like anybody. Yeah, if he's healthy, he can have a real good season.
You remember what happened? Matt Harvey became a free agent and where he signed?
Yeah, I'm not. This is not Matt Harvey though. This is not Matt Harvey. And
Matt Harvey was better. Matt Harvey was better at his peak than Syndergaard ever was.
Yeah, but Harvey's career. Look, he's in the news right now with all the drug scandals and everything like that. His career just went all down the tubes.
Oh, no doubt. His career is over, and that's fine.
Syndergaard is not following that path.
I hope not. But I mean, we haven't seen Noah Syndergaard put in any kind of like real workload since 2019. He threw 2 innings this past year, so he's had basically 2 years off. It's exactly what Harvey did. And I'm noticing patterns. That's all I'm saying. I love me some Casey Mize this year. I think he's the ace of Detroit in the long run. Sorry, my dog just decided to bark at a dog passing by outside. Jordan Montgomery, guys, why the hard on for the like soft tossing lefty in the middle of the Yankees rotation? I've got him at 90.
Wow.
Yeah.
I honestly, I almost didn't have him on this list either. But the fact that he has a spot in the rotation, like he was good. I don't know, Mike. You speak to him. He's your boy. So
he's your guy, Mike. Sell me on Jordan Montgomery.
I mean, you talk about pitching in the AL East and how it's, it's got its bugaboo and it's scary. And this Jordan Montgomery carried us for a part of last season. And he's earned his spot in the Yankees rotation, which means he's probably earned what, like, I don't know.
At the end of the day, it's a back end of the rotation piece, right? We're probably talking about a 6 or a 7 starter. But
You
when we
think?
take, yeah, I mean, in the bigs anyway.
Oh, in the bigs. Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought you meant on the Yankees. Yeah.
No. I think he fits the team. I mean, look, they don't have a surplus of arms anyway. Right
Yeah.
now, they have him penciled in as the number 2 behind Cole. Like,
Yeah.
how good do you feel about that?
I don't feel good about him being our number 2 starter, no, but
Okay.
I feel good about having him as my 6 in the
Yeah,
bigs.
I'm down with that. I am. This past year, home and away splits are relatively the same. 3.89 ERA at home, 3.78 ERA on the road. Strikeout numbers are similar. Home run numbers are similar. So the dude just is. The question is this what he is? Is he a 3.5 to a high 3 ERA guy? Or is he somebody who's probably more going to be like, trying to think of a decent soft tossing lefty that was like a 4.5 ERA.
Keuchel?
That's a decent name. That is a decent name. Is he just Dallas Keuchel, like with no strikeouts?
Is he Dallas Keuchel a few years ago when Dallas Keuchel
Was good. Yeah.
was
like,
good? Yeah.
was okay. I
Yeah.
don't know. All right, let's move on to the guy. Now, is there anybody else that we have here that we have not talked about that you guys want to hit on? I have one name. I could feed you guys some names if you want, but the name I want to start with is Kenta Myelina. This dude fell hard.
Yeah.
This was a top like 15 pitcher last year.
Yeah.
I have him at nice. I have him at 69. You guys don't have him ranked.
No.
I thought he was. Is he not hurt?
Did he have
I
Tommy
thought he
John?
was-
Is he not coming in? Is he?
I thought he did.
Let's take a look. He might.
Yeah,
if he has Tommy John,
yeah.
then he's off my list, obviously.
Yeah, he had Tommy John surgery in September.
Well, then that's why he's off your list. Good job,
Yeah.
guys. Strong work. Good job keeping the guy who's not going to play this year off your list. Made the
Thanks.
rookie mistake. All right. So Kenta Maeda at 69. Goodbye.
I want to
anybody else?
ask you. I want to ask you, Joe. Why is Alex Wood nowhere near? Because he was in that tier we talked about, right? Why is Alex Wood off of your list completely?
Well, Alex Wood is outside the top 100.
Yeah.
Alex Wood is 31 this year, and we have seen so much just variables as far as an outcome for this dude's season. Do we want to talk about the 2019 missed season? Do we want to talk about the time he spent in LA, which was terrific? His season in Cincinnati was that bad one. This past year in the Giants, he was pretty good. And yeah, we see 3 good seasons, 3 good full seasons, but only 138 innings this past year. This is a guy who I think is like a younger Rich Hill, that you're going to get a high outcome over a short sample size. And I'm like, I don't need that. I need guys who are going to fucking pitch. Like, I don't need.
But you can't see him, like,
If he puts together 150 innings of like 4 ERA, then fine. Like, he's going to do it on somebody else's team this year. He's just going to. Like,
for me, I feel like the Giants have this history of like, rejuvenating a pitcher's career.
Just put a pin in that. We're going to come back to.
Okay.
Jason, do you have a guy we haven't talked about that you want to throw up there? Steven Strasbourg, maybe?
Yeah, I mean Strasbourg. Actually, how about let's see.
You got Dakota Hudson there as well.
Yeah, Dakota Hudson. Yeah, again, I had those two grouped in that group of guys that I'm expecting bounce backs. Strasbourg, I know, has been throwing. So he, from all reports I've seen, he's healthy and ready to go. So who knows with Strasbourg though? Like we've seen
like
this
he's
story.
not listed for you. Why not? Just injury concern?
It's the TAC, TAC.
You lost me.
Thoracic.
Thoracic outlet for Strasbourg? No.
No,
It's
he had
carpal
carpal tunnel. Yeah.
It was
I thought
gripping
he
a
had
baseball
thoracic.
gimmick.
Okay. All right. I could have sworn. All right. Yup. I don't know then.
Okay.
Because I thought he had the other one.
If it is thoracic outlet, though.
I thought it was.
No,
He
it was-
did have that. Holy shit. On the 27th
did?
of July, it was announced that Strasbourg would undergo surgery to alleviate neurogenic thoracic outlet syndrome.
All right.
Off the board he goes. See, this is why we do this early, so that we can have
But
these.
he was throwing as
Dude, this
as
thing,
November.
that thing ruined not Jaime Barria, Jaime Garcia's career. It has ruined Matt Harvey's career.
Harvey.
It has ruined Chris Archer's career. He's done. Like, he's done. Sorry. That's it. Like, we've seen the best of Steven Strasburg. It's over. That particular surgery is a death nail for pitchers. Find me somebody who's come back from it and been good.
Yeah. All right, so I'm not crazy. I feel
Yeah,
better.
no, you're good. You're good. We're once again the dumb ones. Although I have to call you out on Nestor Cortez Jr.
Okay.
58th.
Wow.
58.
I had him on my list at one point down in the 60s and 70s, but I couldn't keep him.
I mean, first of all, isn't he the first guy to drop out of the rotation if they sign somebody?
Or is it Herman?
Or is it
Well,
Domingo
yeah.
Herman?
It may be Domingo Herman.
I mean, we saw him be pretty good in the bullpen.
Who, Herman?
No, Cortez. And like,
Yeah.
Jameson Taillon's going to come back. He
Yeah.
needs to be in the rotation.
I mean, Nestor Cortez is a weapon wherever you put him. And so the reason why he's ranked for me is that if he has a rotation spot, I could see him having prolonged success this season. But that's the big if.
Nestor Cortez is a weapon anywhere you put him.
Yeah.
Unless it's 2020 when he threw to a 15.25 ERA, or 2019 where he threw 5.7 ERA and 66 and 2/3 inning. Michael, please. I love the mustache ride just as much as anybody else, but come on, man. It's Nestor Cortez. Like, I'll give you Ranger Suarez. I believe in Ranger Suarez. I'm not going to give you Nestor Cortez and his funky deliveries that he just makes up when he's on the mound in the moment.
Okay.
No, thank you.
All
I'll
right.
pass on that. Hey, and here's the thing. I rostered that guy last year.
And he pitched well for
He
you,
was
didn't
he was good for me. Yes, he was very good for me. But the entire time I'm like, at some point, the bottom is going to fall out on this.
Okay. We'll see.
Go ahead.
Real quick, just two rotations that I kind of want to talk about, because like I have them all scattered throughout my list that I think are on teams that are gonna get overlooked. The rotations for the Guardians and the Tigers, I really like them. I like I'm looking at the Guardians rotation right now, and after Bieber, it's Cal Quantrill, Zach Plesac, Aaron Savali, like those top four, and then Tristan McKenzie. But those top four to me like can be really good, and I think I have them all in my rankings. And same with the Tigers with Rodriguez, Casey Mize, Terry Skubal, and Matt Manning. Like those are.
I'm not a fan of Matt Manning. I'm out on that. That dude is bad. But I'm with you on the other three. Please don't forget about Spencer Turnbull. Spencer Turnbull is really good, and they've still got more on the way. Like
Turnbull had Tommy John surgery in July,
right?
so
he
might
won't be here.
Yeah.
I doubt it. I think he's more a 2023 look. But that being said, like he's legit.
Yeah.
And then they've still got prospects on the way, so that's going to be interesting. I seem to be gravitated toward other rotations. Honestly, like I kind of really like the White Sox rotation. Like I know I talk crap on Dylan Cease, but like Giolito up top is nice along with Lance Lynn. If I could put those two together, that'd be good. Let's go to sleepers, breakouts, and busts, gentlemen. Let's start with a sleeper, a guy outside. Let's say it's outside the top 75. Who's not on your list that you think could return top 50 value?
I have a bunch of that qualify for that.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, where do I start? let's start with I'm going to pair these two. Jesus Luzardo and Sixto Sanchez, two guys
Okay.
on the Marlins. They didn't make my top 75, but I think especially Jesus Luzardo, who's he's had some bumps in the road in Oakland, but I think now pitching in Miami, I can see him really flourishing in Miami at home. They had a stable of young arms, and he's now part of it. So I think he can be a big part of that.
That rotation is nasty. Alcantara, Pablo Lopez, Trevor Rogers, Jesus Luzardo, Max Myers on the way. Eliezer Hernandez is still there. Sixto Sanchez is still there. Like this is a sick group. Mike Haber, who's your sleeper this year?
I got a bunch also. I do like Joe Ryan, who kind of like burst on the scene last year, and with a higher workload, I could see him really breaking out this year. Not as a breakout, but as a sleeper. I guess that's the name I'll stick with right now because I may save some of the other names.
Okay. My sleeper is Alex Cobb. Remember when we were talking just a little bit ago about Alex's that have 4-letter last names and probably will be really good when they go to the Dodgers? This is the Alex I'm in on.
Giants?
Yeah. Alex Cobb went to the Giants, and I think I'm in on this. Like, he showed something last year. It's not like he wasn't a top prospect. And the Giants, I'm willing to give them benefit of the doubt. So give me Alex Cobb as a sleeper at the pitcher position. Jason Ashby, let's start with you for a breakout.
How are we defining breakout? Because again, I have a shit ton.
You have a guy that's going to jump inside the top 10 from beyond, the 30s.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, I didn't get a chance to talk about this guy. He's not in my top. He's within my top 15. I think Freddie Peralta is going to have a monster year. I love his strikeout potential. He had a sub 2 or sub 3 ERA last year, only 144 innings. If he can take the leap up to 175 innings, something like that, I see big things for Freddie Peralta. But I'm not going to call him my breakout because I do have him ranked 14. Okay. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to say I like me Alek Manoah. I know that he's volatile, but I have him 34 right now. I think a full season of him playing on the Blue Jays. I know it's the AL East, but Robbie Ray did it. Alek Manoah could do it.
All right, Mike Haber, who do you have for a breakout?
Yeah, I've got a lot also. If Logan Webb was ranked a little lower, he would be my breakout because I love him. I could really see Michael Kopech if he lands a rotation spot. I could see him being a dynamite grab later in the draft. I don't know if he's set up to hold a rotation spot right now. I'd have to check Baseball Reference, but
at the moment, it doesn't look like he is.
Okay.
They've got the rotation. They've got him pegged in the rotation on roster resource.
Yeah.
But we're not including guys like Reynaldo Lopez that they like to throw out there. Do they have any prospects? Not really. I think this might be the year Kopech does get a full workload. The question is, how much do you want to push him?
Right.
He has thrown a grand total of 83 and 2/3 innings as a professional.
Yeah.
So you might see something like 100, 120, and that could be great. We'll see.
Yeah.
Would it be weird if I were to call Pablo Lopez my breakout?
I don't know if he's ranked 32.
He's at 32, and we're talking about a guy who hasn't thrown more than 111 innings ever. He goes out and throws 180 to an ERA about 3. That would be a breakout, wouldn't it? He'd probably be in the top 20 at that point.
For sure.
I like it. It. Bust, Mr. Ashby. Who is your bust? Who's the guy you're staying away from?
We talked about it. Aaron Nola for me. I have him ranked 20, so that's I don't know if I can even consider that a bust, but I'm staying away from him. I don't know if I can quantify why, but I've never really liked what I see from him, especially when I've seen him pitch against the Mets. So yeah, I'm staying away from Aaron Nola.
Give me that workload. I could see where it could go sideways, but I really think a 200 inning season with a 4 ERA is what we're staring at, and probably it might be even better on the ERA. Mike Haber, your bust this year.
I got 2 names.
Okay.
And one will verify your argument, Joe. Kevin Gausman.
Yep.
Based on where you need to draft him and what he did last year.
Yep.
It's a bust for me. And number 2, I mentioned it before, but Robbie Ray.
Yeah.
I think he's being drafted too high.
Yeah, I have Ray inside the top 10. I'm kind of believing that much, but I'm with you on Gausman. I have him at 24. Like, this is not going to be a good season for him. And yeah, he probably could have been my bust. My bust for this particular exercise, let's see. I mean, I'm a hell of a lot lower on Shane Bieber than you guys, but I could see where that would go. The one guy that I will admit that I am completely avoiding, but I have ranked fairly high, is Max Fried. And not because I don't believe that Max Fried is a good pitcher, but he kind of carried the Braves last year. And I think what we saw was the best you're going to see of Max Fried. He's not a strikeout guy, and he had an ERA of 3, roughly. Right, 14-7. He's going to get wins. Like, this could be good, but I think I'm going to fade this dude. He just doesn't really like fit. And I think regression's coming.
I hear you.
Let's talk about a comeback player, somebody who had a bad season or was injured last year and will be returning pretty decent value for where you can get them. Jason Ashby, you seem to clump them all together.
I did, yeah. So pick a name out of the hat. You know, we didn't really talk about Dakota Hudson at all. And he was really good. Was in 2019?
2019, he had a really good year.
Yeah. You know, so we really haven't seen much of him, except for, you know, aside from that year. But he comes back on that Cardinals staff with that Cardinals team. I see a big year from him. He's only 27.
Yeah, I have to look at something though. I think he was just like ridiculously lucky. And I don't like. Let's see, Dakota Hudson. Yeah, here we go. He had a 1.41 WHIP in 2019. He had 86 walks in 2019 and 22 home runs over 174. Like, he's got a walk problem. Let's hope that his FIP was 4.93. His ERA was 3.35. The dude had a 19% homer to fly ball ratio and had a pretty decent left on base rate and not a huge BABIP either. Like, it's not like he got unlucky there. I also look at things like first pitch strike percentage, because to me, when a pitcher is working ahead in the count often enough, that's a recipe for success.
Sure.
Dakota Hudson is a 56.1% first pitch strike. That is incredibly low compared to the rest of who's around him. I hope for the Cardinals' sake he's good. And yeah, we saw success. I just don't know if it was sustainable. He's got this walk problem. I hope for the best with him, but we'll see. Mike Haber, who is your comeback player of 2022?
I'm torn between 3 names right now. I'm torn between Clevenger, Flaherty, and Verlander. So kind of just throwing.
Hey, those are the guys, right? Like, if you added Syndergaard and a couple of others, like.
Yeah. And by the way, like, I purposely avoided guys like Verlander and Sale, who were like I feel like Verlander and
Degrom would also fit this bill.
Yeah. Like, those guys are like in their own world.
So let me go ahead and go with Clevenger.
Okay.
Because I feel good about this comeback season from him. And he, you know, last year was completely lost. So I feel like that's a good name to start with.
Okay. Let's see what I can do here. I mean, Strasbourg was a nice one until we learned about his thoracic outlet, right? Clevenger didn't pitch in 2021. Verlander didn't. I mean, those guys are way too high up on the list. You know what? Aaron Nola could be a really good bounce back if he does what I think he's going to do. Oh, wait a minute. I got one. talk about a guy by the name of Mike Zoroka, who blew out one Achilles heel in 2020 and then blew out the other one during the 2021 season, or blew out the same one. I don't know. I really want this dude to come back and be good. I really
Yeah.
want him to be good. It's a damn shame. It is a damn shame.
Yeah.
Guys, I hope the next time we get together, we're going to have some movement on the CBA, because at this point, we're going to do the CBA episode when they agree and then compare and contrast so that we can discuss where the movement was and what we're going to be seeing going forward. Guys, I thank you so much for being here. You know this is always my favorite episode. Jason, thank you for being here with us tonight.
Absolutely, man. It's always a pleasure, and yeah, this was absolutely wild. But this is baseball, and there's nothing better than talking baseball with you guys. So I'm happy to do it.
Thank you so much for being here, Mike Haber. Thank you as well. Enjoy your vacation.
Thank you, and thanks for having me. It's an honor talking starting pitchers with you, Joe, because I know how highly you value the position. So it's an honor.
Oh, this is my bread and butter, and I couldn't let us finish up with doing positional rankings without doing this one. So when we do reconvene for these, it will be toward the end of spring training. You'll get a full list, and we'll see how much has changed. Guys, once again, thank you for being here. For you folks at home watching, thank you so much for being here. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, ring that bell so that you know when we upload any of our new fantastic content. And pay attention for more Bigs Live. I like doing that last week. We're gonna do more of those. For those of you listening on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, even if you're looking at us on TikTok, go ahead and subscribe to us, give us a follow, share this video with your friends. To all of those in Yahoo Public League, 26073 that we drafted today. Good luck to you guys this season. To guys in Yahoo Public League 20710 who are listening, what's going on, guys? Give us a follow, and I'll even post this in the league so that you guys can have access to it. I think that's it. Jason, we need to say hello to the guys in the keeper league that we joined.
Yes.
Shout out to the guys in Double Day Pro, because this is the trio of guys who will be managing that team. You guys don't even know what that league's about yet, but we're going to be doing that. That's it, guys. I'm done shilling. I'm done. Let's get out of here. It's been a great episode. Until next time, guys, it's been real, it's been fun, and it is always real fun in the bigs. We'll see you next time.